Approach the sigil on the stone. Magic glitters and swirls from it erratically, as if malfunctioning. It looks slightly dangerous.
A hand? Anyone? Whatever you're doing is working wonders. Now a quick little pull should do the trick. Hello. I'm Gale of Waterdeep. Apologies. I'm usually better at this. At magic. Say, but I know you, don't I? In a manner of speaking. You were on the North Lloyd as well. I don't know what transpired exactly, but the ship broke into pieces and I suddenly found myself in freefall. As I was plummeting to certain death, I spied a glimmer quite near where I estimated my body to impact with less than savory propulsion. Recognizing this glimmer to be magical in nature, I reached out to it with a weaving of words and found myself on the other side, as it were. How about you? How did you survive the fall? That vast burning wreckage behind you somewhat contradicts your story, but here you stand, so who am I to argue? Still, swashbuckling heroics aside, I have the unfortunate suspicion your survival is still very much in jeopardy. Back on the ship, you too were on the receiving end of a rather unwelcome insertion in the ocular region, were you not? No use sugarcoating it, is there? The insertee we speak of, this parasite, are you aware that after a period of excruciating gestation, it will turn us into mind flayers? It's a process known as ceramorphosis, and let me assure you, it is to be avoided. You don't happen to be a cleric by any chance, do you? A doctor? Surgeon? Uncannily adroit with a knitting needle?
You seem to know enough about our condition to realize it's beyond most clerics' skills.
Most, no doubt, but I find myself hoping to be in the presence of the few. You don't happen to be one of them. As we've established, few enough can. It's not exactly a common affliction. We're most certainly going to need a healer, and soon, too. How about we lend each other a helping hand once more and look for a healer together? Most excellent. A parasite shared is a parasite halved, or something to that effect. Oh, but before you think you're about to embark on a journey with most ill-mannered a man, thank you for pulling me out of that stone. It was an act of foresighted kindness, I assure you. For I have the feeling ample opportunities will present themselves for me to return the favor. Go to hell. Ha! You're a good sport. Go to hell. An everyday expression. So trivial it's almost meaningless. But we've seen hell. It's real. And it isn't trivial. Devils, dragons, mind flayers. They used to be abstracts. Pictures on a piece of paper. What a difference a day makes. Now we have have tadpoles slithering through our heads like carnivorous feti. That's not abstract. This ballet of flames invites reflection. But you're right. Let's be up with the lark. Find a healer before the wee one gets hungry.
Be with you in a moment. A gentleman's only as dashing as his least groomed locus. Be that as it may.
Ceramorphosis. What does it make you think of? Spot on. Day 1, fever and memory loss. Day 2, hallucinations and graying skin. Day 3, hair loss and blood leaking from all orifices. Need to go on? Day 4, excruciating pain as the skeleton and organs reform and reposition. Day 5, the host personality has disappeared. Fingers and toes and limbs elongate. I take it you get the picture? Day 6, the flesh around the mouth splits to make way for tentacles. Day 7, a mind flayer is born. Spot on again. Our orifices remain blissfully unblooded, our heads remain clear, and our blood temperature normal. Any expert will agree this is abnormal. Yes, but that doesn't quite explain little old me now, does it? What is happening, or rather not happening to us, is entirely undocumented. Uncharted territory. The silence before the storm. Something to sleep on. We should get some rest. Let's see. I hail from Waterdeep, City of Splendors. I am a wizard of considerable acclaim and scholar of exceptional accomplishment. I have a cat, a library, and a weakness for a good glass of wine. And if the mood takes me, I'm known to try my hand at poetry. There. Didn't that paint enough of a picture? Believe it or not, but I witnessed a similar standoff back at the Yawning Portal. Of course, an establishment like that invites all sorts of outlandish entertainments. Oh, a drow, a dragonborn, and a cleric of Cyric walk into a bar. Your standard fare. Maybe someone was cheating at cards. Maybe it was some weird lover's quarrel. In any case, out came the crossbow, and a hush fell over the entire room. I stood up and yelled, "Shadow Dark Ale for everyone!" The crowd cheered. The tension drained into 6 tankards, and soon all was well again. In a place like the Yawning Portal, the most powerful magic is calling for a round of drinks. Mind you, all I did was call for ale, but you went and stood in front of that crossbow. Well, I'd drink to that. That woman has more venom in her heart than a snake in its fangs. But at least the child is safe. What is youth if not a time to be forgiven for one's transgressions? Couldn't agree more. The girl wasn't innocent, but that doesn't mean she was guilty. That scamp reminds me of myself when I was a nipper. Always getting into trouble. And worse. One time, my parents denied me a kitten, so I summoned myself a Tressim. Ah, dear old Tara. Beautiful creature. Benefits of a wizard's education, you see. Of course, my considerable talent didn't hurt either. Well, that depends on who you ask, I suppose. I may have summoned things rather more exotic than a winged cat. And I can pass water without thinking, but that hardly makes it magic. Anyway, I'm glad we got that boy out of his predicament. Poor lad would have been harpy feed if it wasn't for you. Tiring business, isn't it? All this traveling and adventuring. Why don't we take a little break, Allow ourselves a few moments of rest? Gives me a chance to talk to you about something, well, rather important. We've been on the road together for a while now, haven't we? Survived some perils, overcame some obstacles. Ever since you were kind enough to free me from that stone, I've seen you demonstrate remarkable guile and courage. The way you diffused the tension between Zevlor and Aradin. The way you stood in front of a crossbow to prevent a murder. In short, I've grown to trust you. The reason I make a point of saying this is that I've grown confident enough to tell you something I've yet to tell another living soul, except for my cat. You see, I have this condition. Very different from the parasite we share, but just as deadly. The specifics are rather personal, but suffice it to say that it is a malady I've learned to live with, though not without some effort. What it comes down to is this. Every so often, I need to get my hands on a powerful magical item and absorb the weave inside. I can say no more on the matter. Not now, anyway. Just trust me when I say it's all of vital importance. It's been days since I last consumed an artifact, since before we were abducted. It's only a matter of time before my craving returns. That is why I turn to you. I need you to help me find magic items to consume. It is vital. Dare I say it? Critical. We've already done the finding. In fact, you have one in your possession. You know for yourself how hard-won such an item was, and it will be no easier when even more are required to assuage my hunger. There'll be danger involved, or great cost. Valid question. If not out of the simple goodness of your heart, then perhaps your own self-interest might be sufficient motivation. Having a wizard like me around is quite the boon when facing the perils that stalk these lands. It'd be far harder for me to assist you if I could barely stand upright. Please, trust me. Your help could be the difference between life and death. Thank you. I see my trust in you was not misplaced. I'm sure we won't have to look very far to find what I need. Faerun overflows with magic-infused treasure. As do our packs, as a matter of fact. We've such an item already in our possession, primed for the moment the need arises. I hope I can count on you. Think of it as tribute. The kind a king might pay to a more powerful neighbor to avoid invasion. As long as I pay, there will be peace. But should I ever stop, along comes a war. I can assure you, the battlefield would extend well beyond the borders of my body alone. What's on your mind? Apart from finding me an artifact to consume, which I assume you're pursuing with the appropriate urgency. That is most gratifying to hear. May I? Thank you. That hit the spot. I could feel it work. The magic, it's like a lullaby that sings to sleep the demon inside. A metaphorical demon, I haste to point out, but no less dangerous. And no less bound to wake up again to continue its ravages. Such is the nature of all monsters. My words, my actions, my award-winning smile. Sincerely, though, I understand I ask a lot from you with few answers in return. But in time, all will be told. I obtained it in Waterdeep. Nothing there comes cheap. Oh. My, you startled me. It's miles away. Just pondering what I lost. Mystra commands all magic. Salvation, if such a thing exists, is hers to bestow or withhold. And yet even now, more than I fear losing my own self and soul, I fear losing my command of her art. Magic is my life. I've been in touch with the Weave for as long as I can remember. There's nothing like it. It's like music, poetry, physical beauty, all rolled into one and given expression through the senses. Is it the same for you? Fair enough. Though in the end, we're still playing the same composition. Perhaps I can show you what I mean by reaching into the Weave together. Then follow my lead. Now you.
A familiar feeling, like a kind word and a kind touch at the same time. It's warm and comfortable.
Excellent. Now, repeat after me. Athran Mistraril Kantrak Eo.
Ah, yes. The scent of rosewater and a sense of well-being. A sliver of weave that tastes sweet on the tongue.
Very good. Now, I want you to picture in your mind the concept of harmony, as true as you can.
You see, or is it sense, the unmistakable presence of Mystra, the Lady of Mysteries. There's something like the anticipation of a kiss, then the pleasure of being cloaked in peace. You are safe. You are nestled in the cup of Mystra's hand.
You did it! You're channeling the Weave. How does it feel? You're hard to please, aren't you?
The weave connects you. The moment feels intimate. You realize the weave is making you one. You have but to imagine your desire, and Gale will know it.
I didn't think.
You perceive quick-fire gusts of embarrassment, trepidation, and finally, elation.
Sorry, I wasn't expecting. But it is a pleasant image, to be sure. Most pleasant, in fact. Most welcome.
The weave evaporates, and as it does so, you realize the night feels suddenly cold and lonesome.
Oh. There it goes. How easily things slip away from us, no matter how hard they were in the obtaining. Good night. I enjoyed sharing a moment of magic with you.
I assure you it's not. Don't get me wrong, you did well. The somatic component, the verbal component, even the focus on the inner self that invites Mistra in. But I was still your conduit. To perform such a feat alone requires much and arduous study. Of course, as a sorcerer, these talents come to you quite naturally. I do hope you cherish that gift. Oh, I was surprised, but pleasantly so. Just like I said, amid the madness that has befallen us, it seems almost out of place to think of a kiss. And yet, now more than ever, it's important to recall what makes us human. A stolen glance, that sudden heartbeat. Sometimes the little things are worth more than kingdoms. They promise things to come. My condition is worsening again. I need to consume some powerful magic or it may become volatile. Thank you. It is a strange experience. Each time anew, like a lost soul is spelunking through the darkness that is me, only to be sacrificed on the dread altar of the heart. Somehow the second artifact hasn't had the effect of the first. It's somewhat relieved the discomfort, but I fear my hunger hasn't quite... You do plenty for me, more than you realize. But this cannot be remedied. The magic isn't having the effect it should have. It's not like the last time, like a rainstorm that quells a forest fire. It merely drizzles. The embers still sizzle, the fire remains undefeated. I'm not certain what's going on, but nothing good. Please, I need to think. I need to retrace my steps to a glade of calm and think. Thank you for the artifact. A great deal of trouble it was, too. A great deal of trouble indeed. I think like a brush with destruction to make one appreciate the majesty of the celestial canvas. It's a view I would once have shared with my companion, though definitely unaccompanied by such revelry. She preferred it when we were alone, curled up before a crackling hearth with some ancient, esoteric tome between us. Ink glinting in the firelight. By a Garon's lost nose! No! Tara is not any cat. She's a Tressum. And given your confusion, I'm guessing you've never met one. They're brilliant creatures. Fine company for any self-respecting wizard. She'd be most impressed by our efforts saving these tieflings. Proud, even. And I've given her little to be proud of recently. After I was afflicted with my condition,
and locked myself in my tower for an entire year. I was inconsolable, wallowing in my self-inflicted tragedy.
I've given up on myself. But Tara never did. It was her encouragement, her research that led me to my treatment. Once we knew that magically infused items were the key, she went out to find them for me. She saved my life. After so long being cared for by someone else, it feels good to have repaid the favor. Not directly to Tara, but to these poor tieflings. I'm sure she would approve. Sometimes, I imposed it on myself after all. I set up enough wards to keep an army at bay. Never mind the few colleagues who sought to inquire about my welfare. Tara did her best to keep my spirits up, of course, but there's only so much one Tressum can make up for one's entire social circle. She was often gone, seeking items to treat my condition. You're the first person I've spent any significant time with in a year or more. Spending time in your company, I realized that I may have left behind the greater part of my wit and sensitivity in my tower. Wait, are you saying... You know what? I think I've clearly had far too much wine. And you've had nowhere near enough. I think this is a conversation best held back on, for now. With my condition as volatile as it is, I fear any undue excitement may tip it over the edge, so to speak. Go. Indulge in the frivolities. They're good for the heart. And mine will be all the lighter to see you enjoying yourself. My condition likes being ignored as little as I do. I must consume another artifact. And soon. Thank you. Good gods. It hardly has any effect. Oh, Mystra, have mercy on us all. Listen, I need to speak to you, to all of you. It would be unconscionable of me to remain silent. I might just be about to remedy that. You have to know who I was. You have to know who I really am. What I am is a walking shadow of the promise I once held. I'm what one might call a wizard prodigy, who from an early age could not only control the weave, but compose it, much like a musician or a poet. Such was my skill that it earned me the attention of the mother of magic herself, the Lady of Mysteries, the goddess Mystra. She revealed herself to me and she became my teacher. In time, she became my muse, and later even my lover. Oh, yes. We enjoyed each other's company. Body, mind, and soul. But even so, I desired more. You see, no matter how powerful a wizard we mortals can become, we never scratch more than the surface of the weave. Mystra keeps us in check. There are boundaries she doesn't let us cross. Yet, every time I was with her, I stood on the precipice, gazing into the wonders that lay beyond. I sought to cross her boundaries. I tried to convince her. I pouted. I pleaded. Swore my ambition was only to serve her better. But she only smiled and told me to be contented. Inconceivable as it seems to me now, I shared a bed with a goddess, yet I wasn't satisfied. So I sought to prove myself worthy to her instead. we come now to the crux of my folly. Shall I share the story behind it, or would you rather head straight to its sordid finale? Very well. Here goes. Once upon a very long time ago, a mighty lord lived in a tower. A flying tower, to be precise. I'll save his history for another time, but the gist of it is that he sought to usurp the goddess of magic so that he could become a god himself. He almost managed, but not quite. And his entire empire, Netheril, came crashing down around him as he turned to stone. The magic that was unleashed that day was phenomenal. Roiling like the prime chaos that outdates creation. Even the weave itself could not withstand the onslaught. It fractured, then shattered, and all magic was lost to the mortal realms, until the day Mystra returned. She restored the weave, reuniting all its scattered shards. Or so I thought. Until, in the course of my studies, I learned of a book. Netherese tome in which a piece of the fractured weave had been sealed beyond her reach. What if, I thought, what if, after all this time, I could return this lost part of herself to the goddess? You know me. My gestures can never be grand enough. I was certain that this deed of raw power, draped in romance, would convince Mystra to take me by the hand and welcome me into her hitherto forbidden domains. I was mistaken. I obtained the fabled book and took it into my study. As for what happened next... Here. Place your hand over my heart. Let me show you.
You feel the tadpole quiver as you realize Gale is letting you in. Into the dark. You see through Gale's eyes, staring down the corridors of a dread memory. A book bound and suddenly opened. Inside there are no pages, only a swirling mass of blackest weave that pounces. Its teeth, its claws, it's unstoppable as it digs through and becomes part of you. And gods, is it ever hungry.
Thankfully, the moment I absorbed the fragment wasn't enough to kill me outright. It was only the beginning. This Netherese blight, this orb, for lack of a better word, is balled up inside my chest. And it needs to be fed. As long as I absorb traces of the weave from potent enough sources, it remains quiet. Were it ever to fully destabilize, however. Rather worse, actually. I will erupt. I don't know the exact magnitude of the eruption, but given my studies of Netherese magic, I'd say even a fragment as small as the one I carry, it'd level a city the size of Waterdeep. I know. All of this. It must feel like a betrayal. Say the word, and we'll part ways. I would consume some midnight tears and venture as deep into the Underdark as I possibly could, till they cloud my eyes forever. With a bit of luck, I'd manage to make it to a mind-flare colony so that when the orb erupts, one loud, last song of vengeance would reverberate through the dark. Wouldn't be a heroic end, but coarsely poetic enough in its justice. That is a great relief. Oh, a great relief indeed. You truly are a soul that steals my own. from all my new rallied heart, I thank you. I thank you all. I understand if you stand against me. I'm humbled if you stand with me. Either way, I will do my best not to let you down. I stand at a precipice, but if you do not give up hope, neither shall I. I'll fight. I'll resist as long as I can. Now, even I am tired of the sound of my own voice. Let us venture forth. Ah, yes. Karsus. Karsus was perhaps the most powerful wizard that ever lived. The child who would be a god, the elves called him. And he tried. With a spell of his own devising, he endeavored to usurp in one fell swoop the power of the goddess of magic. Mistral, she was called then. Imagine what it must have felt like to be a god. To know yourself, to be untouchable, to be mistaken. As Karsus aimed his spell at her, she began to unravel, and with her, the entire weave. Too late did he realize what he had unleashed. It would have been the end of everything had not Mistral sacrificed herself. The goddess of magic is all magic. By dying, the entire weave was lost, and the spell that challenged a god failed. It was the end of Mistral, the end of Karsus, and the end of an entire civilization. As the child who would be a god was turned to stone, his empire came crashing down around him. The floating cities of Netheril were no more, an event that came to be known as Karsus's folly. For a spell, Mistral was reborn as Mistra. Upon her return, the weave returned with her. Now, so many centuries later, I try to follow in the footsteps of Karsus. Not to destroy Mistra, but to prove my love for her. And try to control only a fraction of the magic that was unleashed that fateful day. I merely sought to return one tiny diamond to an imperfect crown. Gale's folly, one might call it. History, repetition. It's the way things go. If it should ever come to that, if I ever know I am no longer able to stop it, I will do anything I can to ensure no one but me pays for my mistakes. I will find the remotest place on the surface of Faerun, or perhaps far below in the depths of the Underdark. I will await that death, alone. I promise I will not betray your trust. You kept me by your side despite the menace that I am. If worst comes to worst, I will be long gone before the curtain falls. A word of advice. Wizards' towers can be volatile places. They keep their secrets buried and their dangers close to the surface. One misplaced spell and you might find yourself thrown into limbo, fighting off a death slard with a very nasty temper. I'm sure whatever's on your mind poses no such risk, but caution is to be advised. Now, what can I do for you? Ah, quite. A misadventure from my days as an apprentice at Blackstaff Academy. I was but a child, only a few months into my studies, but already I knew I was destined for greatness. No one believed me, of course. So I decided to prove it, to cast a spell with the Black Staff itself. From one perspective, I succeeded. I opened a portal. However, instead of pointing it at the first-year dormitory, I found myself pulled into limbo, facing a very irritated death slad. Fortunately, the Blackstaff himself came to the rescue, hauling me back from the brink and straight into several months of writing lines, or rather, finessing my autograph. Now, much as I enjoy reminiscing about such tomfoolery, I believe we've more pressing matters at hand. Is there anything else?
Stay thy course a moment to indulge an old man.
Elminster?
The very same, Gale. And a fair bit miffed he is, too, finding himself forced to expose his best pair of boots to so many miles of country road on your behalf.
Meet Elminster Ormar, a good friend of mine, but rather more significantly, he's the most famed and respected wizard in the realms.
Am I, indeed? Most famed and respected errand boy, more like. I was bid to spare neither time nor my own self to find you. She sent me, Gale. You know of whom I speak.
But why? Out with it, Elminster. Please.
Young man, has your sojourn away from Waterdeep washed away your decorum as well as your patience? Nigh a 10-day I've gone without honest fare, worthy of the name. Drank naught but what the sky entitled my thirst. Why, some bread, cheese, and a cup of wine would appear unto me a feast. Surely you would begrudge me a mite of rest and repast before I get out with it?
Oh, for the love of...
This way then? To your camp. Oh, don't dawdle now, lad. You're the one who's in such a frightful hurry.
Oh, nigh on 13 centuries old and he still thinks with his stomach. We'd best follow and see if he's more disposed to speak plainly once it's stopped its grumbling. A wise choice. Better to indulge your curiosity than Elminster's appetite.
Yes, what a delightful wedge of old Arthurian that was. Doesn't do to parley on an empty stomach, you know. Makes one's words frivolous when they should be grave. Plenty to digest, after all. A good deal to stew over, if you will. Words ladled with import should be savored so as to better absorb their meaning. Wouldn't you agree?
Elminster!
Right. You see, that is to say, Gale, my boy, I've come to address a most pressing matter. I'll speak as plainly as I can, forswearing the accustomed frills that decorate my speech. I'm here on behalf of Mystra. The message and the charge I bring you are hers.
Oh, Mistra's delicate feet are ill-suited for the hardships of the road.
You know where you went wrong, Gale. No, we needn't dwell on that here and now. But even so, you're to be given a chance of redemption.
Mistra would consider forgiveness.
She would consider what she considers to be forgiveness. Mystra is aware of the misadventures that have befallen you both. She knows of your strife with the Absolute, that most insidious of evils. The very purpose of my presence, in a roundabout sort of way. You must know that the Absolute is more dangerous than you can possibly conceive. It threatens all who live, even those who are undying. It threatens the gods, the weave, the very fabric of the universe itself. That is why I have come here to charge you, Gale, with its destruction. It is Mistra's belief that only you can.
The orb.
Precisely. Mystra has granted me the power to stop the clock, as it were, on the orb's rush to overpower you. Instead, you will be able to unleash its lethal combustion at will.
Interesting. This could be help, or hindrance. We shall have to see.
You must find the heart of the Absolute, whatever that may be, and use yourself as the catalyst that will burn it from this world.
He is not. But it seems that Mystra is.
It brings me no pleasure saying this, my friend, but such is Mystra's will. Yours must be the sacrifice that will undo the Absolute, and for your sacrifice you will be redeemed. Such is Mystra's promise. With that, I've said my sorry piece, and need only bestow unto thee the charm I was bid. Maenahastra mistraril Italion thras annas dithra. It is done. Both charge and charm have been committed into your care. To you, I commit into care Gale himself. I count on you to shepherd him well on this strangest of journeys.
Or some other fortune altogether.
Like moons make swell and wane the nescient seas, so too the sky-strewn gods ordain the tidal fates of mortal days. And yet, an ocean born in lonely hours, come ebb, come flow, come all that is beyond the breadth of our dominion, be a moon unto yourself. Even the waves of fate can break upon the shores of will. Farewell, my friend.
Farewell, Elminster. I'm glad she chose you.
An audience with Elminster is never less than memorable. I'd have hoped to introduce you to him in less dire circumstances. But those are hard to come by these days. A wizard doesn't reach Elminster's age without enjoying their home comforts. Those who seek danger over cheese don't tend to live as long. For Mystra to have sent him, the severity of her bidding could not be clearer, or weigh more heavily on me. Time seems so infinite when you're young. A month is an age. A year is a lifetime. It is a strange feeling to realize how little of it one might have left.
Of course. We offer the clearest solution to our problem. All I have to do is find the right place and time, close my eyes, and let go. Then the slate will be clean. Wrongs will be righted, the Absolute will be gone, and I along with it. Possibly the most spectacular one ever conceived. But essentially, yes, I'm living on borrowed time in more ways than one. Perhaps this is how it must be. That remains ahead of us for now. The heart of the Absolute must be discovered before I can stop its beating. Let's save such certainty for the moment such a decision is upon us. We may feel differently once we know what we're truly up against. She expects those who seek to use the weave to do so honestly, and with respect for its potential to destroy, as well as its potential to save. I doubt she's asked many of her followers to blow themselves up. That's a fate she's bequeathed exclusively to me. She wouldn't ask such a thing if it weren't our only means of survival. However much she's annoyed at me. Oh, you know me, ever the optimist. I'm trying to focus on the positives. Truth is, I was living on borrowed time already. Consuming those items would only have kept the orb sated for so long. If anything, I feel more at peace than I have in months. At least now I know my death will have purpose. It won't be a distant bang in the footnotes of history. I've no doubt she has the power to do so, but as for the permission, Ao would not look kindly on her meddling in mortal affairs. Divine intervention has a tendency to make things worse, not better. As for Elminster, he's saved the realms more times than legend can recount. But to take on a god is no easy feat, even for him. My orb is the best chance we have, and only I can wield it. It's quite thrilling to fight off such grim creatures as this region throws at us, especially being at your side. I once read a book that explained in some detail the effect a brush with danger has on one's desire for other forms of stimulation. Have you ever read anything on that subject? I believe you. You never looked so beautiful as at the end of a stirring battle. Your cheeks flushed, gaze bright, muscles glistening. Perhaps it's just the thrill of our near undead experience talking. Standing at your side through such darkness and disrepair, it only makes me want you more. Unfortunately, this is neither the time nor the place to indulge such feelings, so we must be patient and push all such thoughts aside. For now. Good evening. I'm here on behalf of Gale of Waterdeep. He wishes to extend you an invitation for a private conversation in a more suitable locale. You are speaking to a mere projection of Gale. His appearance, his voice, and a certain measure of his personality, reconstituted in this case to play as emissary and usher. Would you care to join him? What little I could glean from the portion of his mind that is open to me, it is a matter most urgent. Gladly. Simply follow yonder path, and soon you will find him. I love this time of night. There's an almost reverent silence that accompanies the peak of darkness, when you'd almost believe the dawn will never break. The cradle of eternity. The timelessness of lovers. That most beautiful of fantasies. Indeed. The curse is still present, of course. Just veiled and at arm's length for now. Not a trick I can repeat often, but tonight is different.
This may be my last night alive. I wanted it to be under a canopy of beauty and wonder. And with company to match. I thought this place might bring me peace. I thought it might make the weight of what I must do feel a little lighter. But I'm not so sure. Babe or crone, coward or hero, death is assured. Mistra's forgiveness is not. If you knew the end was near, would you not want to ensure it had meaning? I am terrified. I will not claim otherwise. My face could scarcely conceal it, even if my words sought to deny it. There is no point in running from the inevitable. Better to meet it on my own terms. One moment with you could sate me for a lifetime and prize the fear from my heart. I'm so very glad you came to share this with me. I know this is all unreal, but I created it for you. You must know that you're very special to me. If things were different, if we were home, I'd have taken time to do things properly, to say it all better. But time is short. I'm in love with you. That's a relief. It would be a shame to spend my final hours making an ass of myself. A fair assessment. I wish we had more time to practice together. I want it to be perfect. To bond with you in the way the gods do, intertwining our spirits in visions of the weave. How about the perfect night in Waterdeep? Yes? Let's imagine how it would be. The scene is this. You and I stand in the room that is the center of my universe. Sculptures, the paintings, the walls livened by the spines of 1,000 books. The grand piano plays the Lyrian suites all by itself, and as we look out beyond the arches that lead to the terrace, we see the weary sun take its daily dive into the sea. My favorite spot. Many times, evening turned to night and back to daybreak once more while I sat here, lost in words. Oh, allow me to live dangerously while I still can. This one here is called The Art of the Night. It details the first 1,000 nights of a newlywed king and queen. They turned everything they did into an art. The art of conversation, the art of taste, time-honored and newly acquired. The art of the body, the exploration and acceptance of the self and the other.
The art of the night itself. I say we take a page from their book. Then let's set the book aside and be blank slates on blank sheets. Delightfully new. What do you say? The stars will be our bed. Come here. Why confine ourselves to the pleasures of mortal flesh? There's but one stitch in a vast tapestry. Let me show you more. When you wake, it will be back at our camp. Back in our small, dirty, bloody patch of existence. But stay with me now. There are endless worlds out there. Countless ways to declare love. Infinite ways to express it. Too much for one night. We shall try.
bench's rotted surface a strange, half-faded sigils. A magic circle of some kind, thick with darkness and decay.
A ritual circle. And a complex one at that. I've seen such a construction before in the writings of the Weave Pasha Raven, though his vision was not so tainted. The sigils are written in a curious mix of tongues. Ancient Kalashite, Netherese, something else I can't quite make out. If I'm reading it correctly, it was used in the creation of moon lanterns. It's been mostly drained, but even now contains a powerful dose of shadow weave. The discarded pixie corpses might still contain enough essence. With one of the broken lantern casements... Yes, I think I'll be able to craft one more lantern. And with a slight modification of the casting gesture, it might be able to wield the shadows instead of repelling them. Though, Mistra's eyes may be upon me. She'd forbid me dabbling with such magic. She'd want it destroyed. Wasted, arguably. If Mistra were here, I don't think she'd be best pleased with me for doing that. She was always rather fond of pixies. Still, I'm sensing no signs of any divine retribution incoming. Not quite sure what to make of that. True enough. She'd certainly not want to jeopardize the completion of this little mission she and Elminster have concocted. It may not be the most savory kind of magic, but it will taste sweet enough if it brings us to the heart of the Absolute in one piece. Then thank goodness I have you to keep me in check. Now come. Best keep moving. We have many more shadows to face before we reach the heart of the Absolute.
I wanted to talk to you about our night together. Have you ever walked to the very edge of a great precipice and shuddered at how easy it would be to step into the void? Ever since Elminster told me of Mistra's expectations of me, it felt like I've been walking along such a cliff face. The great drop to nothingness never out of my sight. But you led me away from the edge. Without your words, your touch, I fear I would have sought purpose and solace in that void. And reminding me what living can feel like. I had been hoping you'd say that. To be an object of pity. I couldn't live with that. I hope the end is much farther away than I had suspected. I hope that night meant as much to you as it did to me. And I hope we will have more time together. Together. Alone. I'll see that there is. Woe betide anyone who tries to stop me.
There's nothing that would give me greater pleasure. You must know, our relationship is the brightest spot in our otherwise bleak endeavor. To know you love me for the man I am and not the magic I command. None have loved me so purely before. You are everything to me. And yet our relationship is only a nascent fraction of what it will become. You give me hope. And I've not had that in some time. I'm many things to many people, but I'm never a man to throw the L word around lightly. I said exactly what I meant. I love you. You should never, never doubt that. Plenty of them, and all complicated. It's not easy to turn away from one you once loved, but now that I see our relationship with all the illumination hindsight has to offer, I mostly feel only regret. I was not the first wizard to fall under her spell, nor will I be the last. I was an amusement to her. Mortal to be trifled with, amused and eventually discarded. I regret the way I hurt her, of course I do. But she would have seen me destroy myself to earn her forgiveness. There's no love lost between us. None at all. a question. No. You're not the first. Though you are the first since my relationship with Mystra came to its ignominious end. When the true danger posed by my condition became apparent, I had no choice but to sequester myself away from civilized society. A reclusive wizard. Who'd have thought? After so long with Mystra, I have to say the pleasures of mortal love are much sweeter than I remember. Though perhaps that's simply because it's with you. Grateful, mostly. For meeting you. For having someone who cares that I'm here, alive, and not reduced to a cloud of netherese vapor. Someone apart from my Tressim, that is. Fascinating as our surroundings are, we must press on. If our runaway general is down here, the heart of the Absolute will be too.
The Testament of Merkel!
An elder brain. One of the cruelest and most powerful creatures in existence, enslaved by mere mortals.
Look at that crown. It radiates with power unlike anything I've ever seen. To have it. To hold. Oh, if only I could. But I can't. This is it. I must do as Mystra commands. What choice do I have? More than just a goddess counseled my courage. Whole worlds hang in the balance. I love you too. Much more than myself. More even than Mystra. Very well. Whether I condemn this world or not, I choose you. An elder brain. That was the heart of it. I feel like I've been fumbling in the dark for too long. And I've just had a lit torch thrust into my hands. Indeed. Under other circumstances, I might have been subdued or ashamed. But after what we saw, I must admit, I'm excited. The crown! The one the Elder Brain was wearing. The one I very nearly destroyed. Netherese magic. So pure, so complete, that I didn't even recognize it at first. Most Netherese artifacts contain only the faintest amount of their former power, the ghost of an echo of a memory. That crown was different. I can't fathom how such a wonder survived. Surely everything of its ilk was destroyed along with Netheril itself, but no matter. It exists. I must learn more of it. I know what nearly happened, and I'm sorry for putting you in that position. But I've stepped back from the precipice now. I've seen what may prove to be another way. A better way. That crown sits on a gargantuan elder brain bent on destroying us and everything we hold dear. Understanding its true nature might unlock the means of our victory. We need to learn more about what we saw. An artifact as powerful as that crown must have been documented somewhere. As luck would have it, we'll soon find ourselves near one of the finest book collections this side of Candlekeep, Sorcerer's Sundries. I need to go there and learn all I can. Sorcerer's Sundries is no mere trading post. It's been serving the arcane community for centuries. Their collection of rare tomes is unparalleled. Nethery texts are hardly commonplace, but I'm certain they'll have one or two stashed away. You'll have to forgive my eagerness, but if my suspicions prove to hold water, this could be the answer to all our problems.
Churns around and around. The bile within is unsettled. Each moment brings a new surge. Your companions sleep like blissful lumps of meat.
He thinks he might end the world. But you and I could do far worse. You could do so much better, milady. I won't lay so much as a talon on him. I wouldn't rob you of that delight. Your clever mind is penning tragedy as we speak. Your repressed urge yearns to kill. And kill you will. Tonight, the moment you close your eyes, your favorite person will be brutalized. We all kill what we love most. In time. He would forget his god for you, but you won't for him. Of that I know. You are wrong to consider another your equal. It is my duty to ensure you are making the right decisions, Master. There was much disappointment at your reluctance to kill the little moon maiden. You could kill this one deliberately. I'm sure it will be considered a great show of goodwill. The tithe could still be yours. I do not doubt you will act with a decorum befitting one of your rank. Good night, sweet lady.
Your companion rests blissfully, without a fear in the world. As your hand approaches his body, it wavers. It longs to close around his throat.
Pleasant dream gives way to an even more pleasant reality. Wait. I'm not sure I like the look in your eyes. What's wrong? I see. Fast as in right now, I assume, rather than first light after some sleep fast. You better tell me all.
As you tell your story, fatigue fills your body. Your head swims with the worst headache you've known.
Why, I've shared my heart with you. And I'd truly rather you didn't skewer it. We're in this together, theoretically. You should have confided in me sooner. What is it? A curse? Compulsion? Enthrallment? Whatever it is, we're going to free you of it.
Suddenly you become drowsy. Your vision blurs and floods with yellow bile, and you faint in a dizzy blur. You are not yourself. All control is gone.
Easy there. Your mind is your own, as are your limbs. Don't do anything rash.
Your jaw convulses, and you almost bite off your own tongue.
By the reef! You're practically rabid. This is not good, if I may state the obvious. Spare me the gory details. I know you're still in there. Hold fast.
Your hands are raw and bloody as every inkling of your urge yearns you to tear your bindings.
Steady. You can rein this in. Nobody's getting hurt. Gratitude can wait. You're not out of the woods yet. Stay focused.
The night passes sick and sweating, but bloodlessly. You once again inhabit your own mind.
Welcome back to the land of the lucid, where explanations are owed, if you don't mind. This is surmountable, I'm sure. I'll protect you until you prevail. Chin up, or best this. Well, whatever it is. At least there's no shortage of enemies out there for you to kill. A veritable feast for the violent at heart. For all of us, but worth it. With due diligence, your impulses will soon be mastered. Or at least prevented from causing further harm. Now, as the saying goes, what's left undone should be left unspoken. Is there some lighter subject you wish to discuss? I can hardly hold you responsible for what you do while unconscious. But still, I'll sleep with one eye open. Better safe than, well, dead.
Mr. Dakarios, heavens! Fancy seeing you here.
Tara! That can't be you, can it?
I suppose you won't be terribly shocked to find your old friend Tara amongst the pigeons. They've always been a personal favourite.
My, is that a ring? For us? Ugh, you enjoy yourself now, Tara. Looks like you've got yourself set up quite nicely here. She isn't my Tresim. She's my friend. And from the looks of things, it appears she's eating pigeons. Oh, right. Did you hear that, Tara? Stop it?
Well, these must be important birds indeed, Mr. Dakarios. Forgive me for feasting on their bodies and bones so very voraciously.
Oh, she's agreed. Just about. Tara remains as willful as ever. I'm glad you finally made her acquaintance. Given the length of my time away, I feared she might have given up on me. Oh, I should have known better. She'd never do such a thing. That's Tara. Loyal, intelligent, brave, and apparently unwilling to follow even the most basic of instructions when her own safety is at stake. I wouldn't have her any other way. I'd actually been thinking about introducing the two of you anyway, over a sumptuous home-cooked meal, if that sounds at all to your taste. My tower in Waterdeep boasts an excellent kitchen and a wine cellar to rival Ondar himself. Not to mention a larder stocked with my homemade Hundor sauce. I can hardly wait. Now that we've got something to look forward to, I think it's time we went and saved the world. Don't you?
This city of stone and steel is an endless scream in nature's womb. I have felt no peace here. Until now, your eyes, Stira. There is pain, endless and deep, but also devotion, blazing like the sun. You're in love, are you not? You are wise to admit it. When it comes to love, vulnerability is armor, truth a sword, and trust a shield. I pray you wield all three, Stira. Bring the one you love to me. I will look into your hearts and see if your love is eternal or doomed eternally.
Thoroughly magical. Let's have at it.
Close your eyes, little ones. Be still as stone to earth. And remember to breathe. Glorious. Your bond is sweeter than nature's dew. I see you, know you, but do you know one another? Gale, the learned wizard, the charming gentleman, the walking apocalypse. Listen, think. If the wizard were given the choice, what food would he be?
The fruit of scholars. How I long to have a troop of loyal students grace me with apples by the orchardful in exchange for wisdoms imparted.
Your bond beats in pleasure. It is an honor to behold. The heart is fraught. So let us turn to the joyous. When is Gale happiest?
Bravo. That is indeed where my mind wanders to when times are hard.
Our touch has been that of sunlight. But now we must ask the deep, the difficult. We often gaze through a veil of roses, but love accepts both the petal and the thorn. Gale, what is his greatest flaw?
Hearing it said out loud. Yes, I fear it is true. Fate seems determined to make a sacrifice of me. But perhaps fate can yet be defied. perfect score. Seems you know me better than I know myself.
I press my finger to your bond and find a shield. Impenetrable. It is beautiful. Your love is one few have. Cherish it. Go in peace, seedlings, and know that you made one whose heart was long quiet, beat with love anew.
Literature department. Can I help you? Psst. These books are sensitive. They prefer an environment of quiet reverence. Bold. You might have heard that our library has a collection other shops would lack the skill to curate. Between us, even Master Lerocan was reluctant to house them in his tower. The pen is mightier than the magic wand, apparently. They're locked away here for their and our customers' safety. Our finest reserve includes the Tharkiot Codex, the Annals of Karsus and Netherese Folly, Sights of the Sealy, and the Curriculum of Strategy. Do any of those interest you? It is said to be written by Lord Karsus himself, the Netherese arcanist who attempted to replace the goddess Mystra. Failed, and was banished for the attempt. Great magical knowledge lies within those pages, but not many can withstand it.
That's it. That's what I need.
The Annals of Karsus would no doubt have much to say about the crone's true nature. If only you could read them.
Buy? Books as temperamental as these are not on sale. They are secured in our vault, where none can harm them, nor can they do any harm. Consider yourself lucky to have learned of such a book's existence, and then forget about it. The Annals of Karsus are best left unread. Customers like you are why I prefer the company of books. The only way to gain access to the vault is through my office. And before you ask, no, you are not allowed in there either. You certainly have. Even simple knowledge of these tomes is enough to stimulate most.
The Annals of Karsus. The preamble to a civilization's downfall, committed to parchment by the very hand that wrought its destruction. The truth of the crown, I hope. All that stands between us and enlightenment is the turn of a page. This isn't what I expected. This is much more. The crown of Karsus. And this is no mere journal. It contains Karsus's original plans for the crown's construction. His designs for Godhood. Not exactly. It was what he did with it that sealed his fate, and, for a time, that of magic itself. The crown was merely the means. The book states that the crown and netherstones were originally one construct, seemingly sundered at the moment of Karsus's downfall. If we can collect the crown setting and the 3 netherstones, and with the correct invocation of certain spells and gestures detailed in these notes, I think I could reforge it. To every end you can imagine, and 1,000 more beyond. Just think of it. The power of the gods in mortal hands at last would be free of doctrine and dogma, confined only by the limits of our imaginations. We must discuss this further, but quietly, privately. Find me later, and I will show you something truly divine. I will show you what a crown like this could mean for both of us. I can hardly wait. I don't think I deserve you at times. I told you of my ambitions, the likes of which many would balk at. And yet you remain at my side. Gladdens me to hear you say that. Perhaps I can show you my gratitude another way, by demonstrating exactly what Ascension will mean to me. To us. Words alone are not enough. Permit me to show you. Please, close your eyes a moment. Astra navigamus. Few mortals ever glimpse what you're about to see. But don't be alarmed. I'm here with you. Now, open your eyes. The outer planes. This is where gods dwell. They observe us from afar, where they make playthings of us. They will keep all of this from us. The power, the possibilities. They only want us to serve them, to pray to them, and ultimately to die for them. But what if we didn't need them? What if we wielded their power instead and helped ourselves in all the ways they refuse to? I could make that happen. I could make this illusion a reality, with you by my side. No, not like that. I don't want to join them, I want to better them. A god's powers paired with a mortal conscience, a mortal heart. The tadpoles, the orb, these threats to our existence, the gods could aid us if they wished, but instead they cower behind Io. So let us act ourselves. With the power of the crown, any foe would be rendered impotent, any obstacle would be dwarfed by our... I used to believe Mistress Forgiveness was worth dying for. But I was wrong. You showed me just how much I have to live for. With you, I forget, my goddess. I love you. Tell me you feel the same way. Tell me you want what I want. Please. Right now, I need nothing more than a kiss. Then we'll face what is to come, together. And claim the crown when the time comes. You put the stars to shame. Let's sit here another while. I want to drink you in. I hope the city doesn't seem too small and quaint to you. Now you've caught a glimpse of what lies above and beyond. I had hoped to have a word with you about that, in fact. Our little voyage to the stars. What I proposed to you was something bolder than most mortals ever have to contend with. And yet, your resolve was firm. I wanted to see how you felt on Terra Prima. Did our dream survive the waking from it? Then my sore arms thank you. I can finally stop pinching myself. I can't tell you how glad I am not to face such an undertaking alone. We will succeed where Karsus failed, I'm sure of it. Standing, side by side, even against such intimidating odds. How could we not? Was there anything else you wish to discuss? Elminster?
Oh, hello, my boy. No, don't mind me. I'm just enjoying a lungful of Baldurian air. Yes, a distinctive aroma, though perhaps not one worthy of bottling. I hear you've been browsing in the most esteemed of emporiums, sorcerous sundries. Indulge my curiosity. What wonders did you discover there?
Perhaps it would have been better to keep that particular opportunity between ourselves.
The crown of Karsus? No, Gale. It's for the best that I know. I trust there's no need to remind you what came of Karsus. His folly humbled a whole civilization. No one seeks an encore of that. Does she speak true, Gale? You truly believe yourself capable of wielding Karsus's crown?
Perhaps she does. Would you begrudge me the chance to make things right, Elminster?
Of course not. And the time has come for precisely that. Mystra knows you defied her, Gale. Well, of course she knows. She's Mystra. She bids you come to her holy shrine in the Stormshore Tabernacle. There, she will grant you an audience at last. There is only one reason why you should set your ambitions on such an item. To offer it over to Mystra as a token of your loyalty. Perhaps then she would overlook your earlier failings. But if you crave it for yourself, you would not just be failing her, you would be challenging her. Choose wisely, Gale. Do not trade one calamity for another. If you will not hear it from me, hear it from your goddess. What truths she has to offer are for your ears alone. Gale of Waterdeep. Godspeed.
So all it took to get Mystra's attention was to learn how to reforge an artifact that once destroyed her. It's obvious when you stop to think about it. Not scared, not yet. But she's shaken if she feels the need to intervene directly. This is a conversation that's long overdue on both sides. I owe it to her to hear her out. Come what may afterwards. Our
After you.
There she stands, just as Elminster promised. Mystra, goddess of the weave, mother of all magic.
The old man wasn't lying. She's opened the summoning channel. Can't you feel it?
Gale's right. The very air around the statue crackles with magic, as though the weave itself were coursing beneath her stony skin.
A stream of pure, undiluted weave. I only have to reach out, and it will carry me to Mystra, wherever she may be.
Go on then, Gale. We'll be here waiting for you when you're finished.
Time was, I'd have given my right arm for a chance to speak with Mystra again. The left one, too. Maybe a knee. Am I? You're right. I am a strong, capable wizard. And this is no more than a casual reunion with an ex-lover. My omnipotent, omniscient ex-lover. I always wonder what being nervous would feel like. I hate it. During my time locked away in Waterdeep, I prepared a quite comprehensive speech for her on the subject of our former relationship and the manner in which it ended. Alas, recent events have rendered the majority of it moot, so I'm going to have to improvise. Unless you have any words of wisdom to impart before I go. With pleasure. It's not often one has the chance to threaten a goddess and make good on it. Mystra won't be the one issuing the orders for much longer. She'll know exactly who's coming for her. This won't take long, and when I'm done, I'll be free of Mystra's yoke once and for all.
Gale of Waterdeep, you look well.
No thanks to you. I wasn't expecting a summons, but then you did always prefer things on your terms.
I did not come here to suffer a mortal's admonitions. Certainly not yours. You discovered what lies at the heart of the Absolute, the crown of Karsus. And you disobeyed my instruction. Why?
You abandoned me in my hour of greatest need. I had no obligation to help you in yours.
You still believe yourself to be so wronged. You always were stubborn. The past cannot be undone with self-pity, nor can a future be forged. Only with the truth will you see the way ahead. The fragment of magic you tried to return to me was not of my creation. It was the Karsite weave. It is a corrupted, half-born magic, wrought in the brief moment Karsus ascended to Godhood. It hungers for power, just as he did, and it can never be sated. You unleashed something that would consume all magic in existence, and yet you thought only of preserving yourself.
Well, somebody had to. You weren't exactly forthcoming with any offers of help.
My concern was the preservation of everything. The Karsite weave could tear apart the very fabric of the material plane. That it entered your body and consumed no more than your powers was a miracle. But we will not be granted another. The only reason the orb sleeps is because I have allowed it to feed on the true weave. A temporary measure, but one that will not be enough to save us. With each day that passes, the Elder Brain threatens to become a new kind of god. Its worshippers, a scourge of soulless illithids. If you will not use the orb to end this abomination, then you must find a way to separate crown and host. When you've done this, you must surrender the crown of Karsus to me.
Not happening. When I get my hands on that crown, I'm going to wield it. Karsus's powers will be mine.
Crown yourself, Gale Decarius, and you will learn what it is to carry such weight upon your shoulders. If it does not crush you, I will.
Karsite weave. I had no idea. Do you realize what this means? The orb is no stray piece of ordinary magic. It is something entirely different. The nascent form of a new divine power. Of course, I couldn't control it. I was mortal. But once I reforge the crown, the power of a god will be mine to command. The orb will answer to me. So do I. Though I'm not sure that's the purpose I'd apply it to. Let me assure you, Karsite Weave has no more inherent evil to it than a child in the womb, or an axe half forged on the blacksmith's anvil. It is a tool, ready to be shaped by its wielder, by me. And you know me to be someone of reasonably sound moral judgment, don't you? Gods! It's refreshing to share the company of someone who sees things the same way I do. All we need to do is stay focused on the task at hand. Defeating that Elder Brain. After that, you can leave the rest to me. Strangely, no. Once, a mere glimpse of her face would have been enough to turn my insides over. But not this time. In her likeness, I used to read 1,000 stories. She was beauty, wisdom, elegance, power. She contained universes. But now, it's hard to see any redeeming qualities in a lover who condemned you to death. I'd much rather gaze into your eyes than hers. Yours are capable of tenderness and feeling. No god could ever compare. I've often asked myself the same question, but never really found a satisfactory answer. He clearly sees something in me that I can't. The wisdom and intelligence required to overcome almost insurmountable odds, perhaps? Or the stupidity required to attempt it. I take it as a compliment either way. You don't get to be 13 centuries old without becoming a sound judge of character. And cheese, apparently. I regret many things in my life. Choosing to be here, intact and unexploded, is not one of them. For now, to have a few more days in your company, no. I wouldn't change a thing. Quite the choice you're faced with. Surrender the Netherstones to a mind flayer, or surrender your soul and become one. If you need advice, I'll do my best. Though I have to say I've not much to draw on in this case. It's rather a unique predicament to have landed yourself with. As it stands, I see no option free of sacrifice in one form or another. So the question becomes, what are you willing to give up? Relinquish the stones, and you place your fate in the hands of a creature whose trustworthiness is hardly guaranteed. Keep the stones, and you relinquish the very essence of your being, your soul, your emotions, your purpose. You would lose everything, and might live with such a loss for eternity. All I can say is whatever choice you make, if it leads us to taking the crown, it will be worth it. And I will ensure you are well taken care of. Strolling these streets together would have been quite magical in other circumstances. This is all a tad apocalyptic for my liking. I'd need a ream of parchment longer than an elderbrain's stem to capture the tumult I feel at that particular prospect. But I'm ready, if that's the word you need to hear. If you call on me, I will not let you down. When? I'm glad you have such confidence in our endeavor. I confess, my own's not constructed from such immutable materials. I challenged my goddess, defied her will, and promised her destruction. Failed to get the crown after all that. And if the embarrassment doesn't finish me off, Misra might. I'm cautiously optimistic. Though, with the time left to us and the amount still to be done, it's best we don't take anything for granted. Who knows what shape these final moments of ours might assume? Not I. Not Mistra. Not even you. Whatever my fate might be, I'll be glad to greet it in such fine company. Can't you feel it? We're almost there. Once we ascend, the Netherbrain stem will be in touching distance of the crown, but reclaiming the powers of Karsus himself. I'm ready. Are you? Then I think it's about time we ascended, don't you?
With the Githyanki gone, there's nothing left but the silence of the city, smoldering, waiting to be rebuilt. But it seems that Gale's mind is elsewhere.
The crown. It's somewhere in the Chiontha. If I salvage the stones, I can reforge it. With the crown in my hands, I will be unstoppable. The casts I weave will be mine to command. I would be more than the greatest wizard who ever lived. I would be a god. That day cannot come soon enough. But first, I must retrieve the crown. Have patience a while, and I will return to you, carrying immortality in one hand and offering you ascension with the other. I will be a god, as will you.
I shall miss him, though I hope he proves to be a kindly god. I've had my fill of the tyrannical sort.
Though I hope he has the metal needed to face Mystra. She will not yield willingly, I fear.
I hoped I'd see you here. I imagine this must be quite a shock. Whatever you're feeling, do not be afraid. Still me, just an improved version. Forget you? Never. I'm afraid time works quite differently in Elysium. I didn't realize how long I'd been gone until I received Wither's summons. I imagine you're wondering how all this came to be. The finer points of divine ascension are beyond mortal comprehension, I'm afraid, but I can provide a rudimentary sequence of events. First, I retrieved the crown of Karsus and reforged it using a series of precise and highly complex Netherese incantations. Then, I used it. As you know, the orb within me was the half-formed Karsite Weaver, magic left incomplete by Karsus' self-destruction. I finished it. Using the crown of Karsus, I turned it into a new form of magic, fused with my being, driven by my purpose. And then I put it to work. As expected, Mystra was unwilling to hand over the reins of the weave, so I've claimed dominion over another area which I've passing familiarity. Ambition. I assure you, this is merely the prelude to a far grander vision. Elysium's in for something of a shake-up. I can say this much for now. Mystra is welcome to her dominion. My aims are set a little higher than offering cursory blessings to just any half-decent spellcaster. I exist, not to bestow favors on my followers, but to inspire them to seize their destinies for themselves, exactly as I did. I'm their proof. Proof their hopes are not barren wastes, but the loamy soil in which their future achievements will flourish. Proof that with ambition, anything is possible. You see? Now you're realizing your true potential. You, and many more by the day. There are already several shrines in my honor scattered across the outer reaches of Thay, and rumors of a very prominent temple under construction in Arm. This is only the beginning. I see you won't be claiming the domain of patience in the heavens. All in good time, my love. For now, mortality has one more night of enjoyment in store. So, it's time for me to return to the heavens. The question is, do you wish to go with me? To become a god at my side? That is for you to decide, my love. Ambition made me what I am. What drives you, we have yet to discover. Your domain will come to you as you settle into divinity. I can't wait to see what you'll become. Then follow my lead. Close your eyes. How do you feel? And that's just the beginning.
so much more to show you.